welcome back to Smashing Heads Podcast. This is our recap for All Stars 3, Episode 6. As always, my name is Zach, and I'm joined by my wife, Hannah.
Hey, hey, hey.
My best friend, Jeyyy.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Pretty good. It's a day late, dollar short.
And a worm early.
I don't think those go together. I don't know what
the early worm gets the bird.
a thoroughly worm.
Yep.
It is a thoroughly worm. A thoroughly worm gets the bird.
I said the early worm, but it's the early bird.
He said the early worm gets the bird.
Yeah.
It's the early
maybe
bird
it's
gets
maybe
the
it's
worm.
the worms.
The whirly bird.
The worms from Trimmers.
Shout out to Daryl Worley. Have you forgotten?
9/11.
Yeah.
Never
No,
forget.
I wonder if anyone listening to this podcast that's not from West Tennessee knows Daryl
Surely to
Worley.
God.
Or
That song was a hit.
It was.
That and Tennessee River Run.
It was a 9/11 hit.
Tennessee River Run's probably more regional specific.
That's like, Lee Greenwood's the same thing, right?
I don't know who that is.
Proud to be an American.
I think that one's a little bit bigger than.
Oh, yeah.
But
everybody knows that song.
You think Lee Greenwood prior to that was more recognizable than Daryl Worley?
I mean, I got to be honest. I only know that song by Lee Greenwood, and I only know Daryl Worley because he grew up in the town that we did, or
Right.
next door to, or the next town over.
Tall.
Yeah, so
He is really tall.
He had a restaurant called Whirly Birds.
They had great burgers.
I actually thought it sucked, but anyway.
Okay, thanks.
I did.
I
thought it was
went there
awful.
when I was a little kid.
I remember it being kind of whatever.
It's the generic, small town Tennessee.
And,
food.
most of the stuff came out of a bag,
Yeah.
frozen, and they just
Well, I could take you back to where it used to stand.
Not authentic like Daryl was. I'll say that. The food wasn't.
Check out his song "Have You Forgotten," which came out in the wake of 9/11, and it's
Tennessee River Run.
Tennessee River Run is not about 9/11.
No.
Maybe it is. I haven't asked him.
This is just about working all week and getting it all done. So
Hey, you know, I don't listen to country music. It's just not my taste.
but Dierks Bentley.
No, that song "Pontoon." That's one of my absolute favorite summer hits.
I don't know what
you
you're
can
talking about.
ask my sisters about it.
I don't want to.
Like it's like a running joke that anytime we go to the beach for anything, I make them play it like 10 times on the way down.
Yeah, because you know what beaches are famous for is pontoons.
You can take a pontoon on the ocean.
But I mean it's more of a lake thing.
I know
Yeah.
that's
Well-
the joke. They kept saying this is a lake song, and I'm like, I don't care.
My parents actually have a pontoon, and I will say, I've never been into country music, but there's something special about country music on the river.
No, there's something special about the song "Pontoon."
I don't know the song, and
the
the only song I can think that would be appropriate is
Tennessee River Run.
"Way Down Yonder" on a Chattahoochee.
Who is that? Randy Travis?
No, Randy Travis is
He's
he was
dying.
he was on Hey Arnold.
Is he?
Yeah, he's in bad shape.
Hey, we went to the beach like 2 weeks ago, and my mom and sisters went to go see Kenny Chesney.
He's in great shape,
It
though.
was a good show.
It's very Shawn
Is he the one-
Michaels-esque.
Is he the one from the Allstate commercial or Nationwide commercials?
No,
No, that's Daryl Worley.
No, it's not. That's definitely not Daryl Worley.
Lord, who is that?
Jason Aldean.
Brad.
No, it's Brad something.
Brad from the Challenge.
What is his name?
I don't know. 'Cause
No,
I know
Kenny-
him, but I don't know it.
Kenny Chesney's from Knoxville. That's where I'm from.
I'm sure there's a lot of people here that are very offended that we don't like or know these facts about people. All I know is Daryl Worley had a song about 9/11 called "Have You Forgotten."
All I know is Kenny Chesney had a song called
Rice cooking in the microwave.
Big Green Tractor.
You looking it up?
Yeah.
It should be pretty easy.
No, not Big Green Tractor. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Here we go.
That's the song.
You're thinking of Clifford the Big Red Dog.
I love Clifford the Big Red Dog. They're making a live action movie.
They already did. It's already been out and it's
I haven't
over.
seen it.
What's his name?
I can't find it.
Why is this so hard for you? Just type in Nationwide.
Is it Nationwide?
Yeah.
Brad
Yeah.
Paisley.
Yeah, Brad Paisley.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Is
He's
he
actually-
still making music?
He's actually good. He's making Nationwide songs. He's a
great
good guitar
music-
player.
Yeah, he's really good.
Again, we live in Tennessee, and there's the country music, whatever.
Hall of Fame is in Nashville.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, none of us really care.
No. I care about Dolly Parton, though.
True, but even
She's
but that's a
also-
different era of country.
But she's also from the Knoxville area, Sevierville to be exact. That's why Dollywood
Stop
is
tapping
in
me.
Pigeon Forge.
Pigeon Forge, I don't even. I grew up hearing that because it's obviously a tourist area. that name doesn't make any sense. Those two words don't go together at all. It's like you just had someone put in, I need a noun and an adjective, or a noun and a verb.
It wasn't named for the tourism.
What's it named after? It's not like there's a million pigeons there.
No, I'm pretty sure it was like a Cherokee name because there were in the Cumberland
But what
Gap.
is Forge?
Look it up. Because
if that's what it's named after, there is zero respect or honor shown to the Native Americans that live there, because I've been to Pigeon Forge a dozen times and I've never once seen any Native American murals or anything like that.
they're all over the Cumberland Gap. Like a lot of the neighborhoods and towns and cities are named after like Native American names.
I tried to get a girl's number at a Starbucks in Pigeon Forge.
I remember you telling us about that.
How'd that go?
You went on a trip by yourself, you and Razor.
She told me she had a boyfriend.
Do you think she really had a boyfriend?
I don't think so. Turns out I found her on Facebook, and she's
That's not weird.
no, she like performs at like some of the like auditoriums there and stuff. Like she's kind of a geographical attraction there.
Well,
okay.
So
Pigeon Forge is only like 6,000 people, so not very big.
Yeah, it is mostly tourism.
The name of the river comes from the flocks of passenger pigeons that frequented its banks at the time of the first Euro-American settlers' arrival. For centuries, the Cherokee used the valley where Pigeon Forge is now located as a hunting ground. The footpath known as Indian Gap Trail crossed the Great Smokies from North Carolina and passed through the Pigeon Forge Valley. But where's the word forge come from? Is that a geographical term that I'm not familiar with?
They forged their way through the valley.
I get that, but
it comes from an iron forge built by Isaac Love.
Okay, well, that's what it is.
Those are my ancestors.
Huh?
Isaac Love, those are my ancestors.
Oh, I was like, what are you talking about?
I actually don't know. I think they are, though.
Could be.
Because my dad's dad is from that area.
It could be.
He was incredibly...
I thought you were trying to imply that you were Native American to some degree. And I was like, well...
My grandfather was super, super, super dark complected, but it was because he was... I think they said he was part Cherokee.
That used to be a big joke, was that everyone was like 1/16 or something like that.
No, my grandfather was very dark complected.
I never met him.
No, he died when I was a freshman in high school.
That's what I'm saying.
Rest in peace.
Cancer absolutely destroyed his body. I watched it. It was traumatic.
I don't know how to... Neither one of us know how to segue out of that. Yeah.
Don't smoke. That's why.
I don't.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
I didn't plan to begin with, but... So check out Dollywood if you want.
Dollywood is amazing.
I've
It's
never
amazing.
been there, honestly.
You need to go.
That's fine.
That's one of the only places I'll get on like some rides.
So you mean like a carousel?
No, I get on like water rides there. There's like
that's bad for you.
there's the one ride where you get into the big long log and then it's sort of like a water roller coaster, but it's not super high up. And then I'll ride the one where you're in like a raft. It's like faux rapids.
Mm-hmm.
And you get in it with like 5 other people.
I've done a bunch of those. I've done those at Disney and Six Flags. And
those
stuff
are like the
that.
only 2 rides I'll get on.
Well, I'm surprised, honestly, you did even those.
Yeah.
So I haven't said it yet. Patreon.com/SmashingHeads podcast.
This is not a country music podcast.
No.
Although sometimes we think it might be.
And then at Smashing Heads on Twitter, at Smashing Heads Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We got a kind of tight time frame on this one. So let's jump in. All-Star Season 3, Episode 6, like I said. I believe we are on the first episode of the second half of the season, it seems.
That's right.
I think last episode, TJ was like, hey, we're halfway there. And so this would be the starting off point. So it looks like it's going to be 10 episodes. And also we find out in this episode there's only 1 sabotage left. So it seems like they're gearing up for some sort of a final or something like that. So everyone comes back in the house, and immediately, I knew you'd appreciate it, they were talking about the vibes.
The vibe was just not good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I will say, even though I think as a whole we don't like the vibes, but I will, if Beth had been living in your house for a little bit, it probably did throw off your vibes. Which, by the way, we also had people on our Patreon say pretty much confirmed that Beth just went on the gossip rumor stuff before she went out for the season and just brought in that stuff about John A.
Mm-hmm.
That's awful.
Now, it may have some semblance of truth because, again, we don't know one way or the other, but to do that before you go out there is pretty...
So, see, Han, it's fun.
Yeah.
No, it's not fine to do that. It's not fine to do that. MJ wants $500,000 in his bank.
Oh, I mean, I think anybody does, right?
That's, yeah. Yeah. Wow, me and Han had the same note.
What was it?
MJ wants $500,000. I took on your way of...
Did you do emojis?
No, but I did abbreviations. MJ wants $500,000 in his bank account.
Thank you.
You
It's
should-
not weird.
We read your notes.
You should have said bank act.
Bank act.
Yeah.
I do
And
that
put the dollar
sometimes.
sign emojis.
ACC for account. Okay, so Kellyanne said that she has heavy metal poisoning.
And mild
And, yeah.
mold poisoning. Sorry, and mold poisoning.
A lot of stuff happened.
How does that happen? What is heavy metal poisoning?
I would assume like lead poisoning.
From what? Like how do you get it? This is the first person I've ever heard of having that.
Well, I mean, you work in real estate. You have houses past a certain age used lead paint and stuff like that. Like you always have to do a lead paint disclosure and things like that. Like
Yeah, if it was built before 1968.
again, like they used to just not know like lead caused a lot of health problems. Same with asbestos. Like asbestos when it came out was like a miracle product because it was like, oh, you can build buildings out of it and it doesn't catch on fire. That's amazing. And then it turns out, oh, it gives you lung cancer like crazy. And you know,
She could have been rocking out to Enter Sandman too much.
That's a good song. It gets stuck in my head sometimes.
does it now?
Yes, it's so weird.
When you're playing Spyro the Dragon demo?
No, that's a Madden 06 exclusive there.
Was that on
You
there?
guys can leave me
I
alone.
think
it was not on there.
the new Call of Duty.
No, she would just stick it in the CD player and just while she was running down the middle with Donovan
you used to
McNabb.
could rip CDs onto like your Xbox.
Yeah, I
and then
remember
play
that.
them back over
On like
games.
Tony Hawk and stuff. I used to do
Yeah.
that with Tony
I
Hawk.
didn't know
I'd play Creed all the
I
time.
was about to say I remember going to your house and listening to Creed when we were playing something.
Tony Hawk.
Probably, which the Tony Hawk soundtracks are much better than the Creed.
Yeah.
Okay, but Creed is still great.
But yeah, you used to could do that, and she didn't say what it was, but she did say she had the stomach flu for 4 days as well. Which
I had no idea.
good Lord, I hate throwing up more than anything else, and so I sympathize with her on that.
Yeah.
And was this when she was doing the phone thing with her boyfriend?
Yes.
Okay, I just didn't write that part down.
Yeah,
but
she said she was on day 4 of the stomach flu, and the green mucus had just arrived.
yeah, but see, that doesn't sound like the stomach flu.
That
I mean, I'm not
just-
going to debate.
It
what
just
she
sounds
had.
like a cold.
It sounds like the flu. Like,
Yeah.
not because the stomach flu is like throwing up
Stomach
and
flu
diarrhea.
is
Yeah.
it's coming out both ends.
And it's awful, especially overseas. It's the worst thing in the world because you just want to be home and you don't want to you want to be somewhere familiar, and because everything's the worst. And then we have MJ like icing his knee, and they talk about that. I guess I didn't realize or I forgot that he played football at Vanderbilt.
He's a former Commodore.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew he's a big Vanderbilt fan, and he lives like right out by there.
Do you think he and Nate Bargatze are friends?
It's possible? It's very possible.
They seem like they would get along.
They might, yeah. I mean, we could probably ask him.
We could set them up if they're not
Yeah,
friends.
because we've got real good contacts with Nate Bargatze.
and MJ.
I could talk. I've talked to MJ.
Oh, tell him what's up.
Yeah. Okay.
Just that, nothing else.
Just hey, what's up? So apparently MJ had been telling people that his knee wasn't as bad as what he was letting on, and Brad said that
Got Brad all kinds of messed up.
he's like he wouldn't be surprised if he took the knee brace off and it was all like a decoy the whole. Like, didn't wrestlers used to do that?
Oh yeah.
Like, they'd have like a neck brace on and they'd throw it off and be like, it's surprise.
Yeah.
And I think MJ's knee is messed up, and he just was saying that to try to scare
Save
people
face.
from throwing him into elimination.
Well, it drove the bug eyes out.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Brad at one point was freaking out, being like, I don't know what to believe anymore.
His
It
confessionals
rocked his world.
His confessionals sound very rehearsed to me. Like he's like, God, well, what am I going to say in this one?
Like he wrote it out beforehand.
Yeah, and he's like, can I do that one again? And then he just plays it out. So we get to the daily. It's just called. Is it just called Stacked, or did I miss a word?
It was just Stacked.
Okay. It's just called Stacked, and basically you start with a, I don't know, like 25-yard run. Like the run seemed a little unnecessary, but I guess it's just to add something else there. And then you get a little like scraper, and you have to like scrape off.
Like you chip and paint.
Yeah, it's or like
wallpaper.
Or like well, no, wallpaper sucks to get off.
That's why we painted over it.
It's more like
that's what I would do.
Yeah.
It's more like the like lottery tickets, but like a much bigger scale and a little harder to scratch off. And you're looking for a combination, but you don't know where it's at, and it's different on every board. So it's kind of luck, like if you find the area, because like in the girls round, like Nia found it immediately. Obviously, it didn't help, but they do it in 7 guys first and 7 girls, and you have a combination. You got to take that and you get your paddle, but there's only 5 paddle boards. And then you got to paddle all the way out and get your puzzle pieces and then come back. But if you're not the first 3, then you don't even get to try the puzzle. And so it's you knock off 4 players before you even get to the final thing. And the sabotage we find out is the person that you pick has an extra lock that they have 2 combinations that you have to work on. And basically TJ said, who are you going to leave on the beach? Because there's no way they're going to make it past that point. And I don't think either of them did.
They didn't.
Yeah.
It was MJ and
John A.
Which
MJ kind of was like, I'm not even going to try. Why try to risk screwing up your knee running on sand? So Sylvia picks John A., which was kind of a pivot because she seemed to be going after Kellyanne, which ultimately
this is
completely sent her home.
Yeah.
She should have gone after Kellyanne.
But you understand the thinking because Kellyanne
frazzled with puzzles
is one of the worst at puzzles, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, well, that's a sabotage in and of itself.
Yes.
Right. So
and John A. seems to do well at puzzles.
Yeah. So I don't disagree with it, but it did send her home.
I at the time I was like, honestly, not a bad play.
Yeah.
But I understood it.
The way that she handled it throughout the rest of the episode did her no favors, and
it's one of those like you're you're mad at yourself for the decision you made, but you're taking it out on other people.
Yeah. And Mark asks if any of the guys want it, and MJ just raises his hand because, again, he's like, I'm not going to try in this one. There's no point.
He said he's got to work smarter, not harder.
Well, and there's no consequence for coming in last place. Like, you're not safe, but neither is anyone else who doesn't come in first. And so Mark and MJ are the 2 guys cut first for the guys. They didn't get their boards. And then
Bionic Brad takes the lead.
Derek and Jordyn are the ones that kind of get out ahead with the paddle boards. And so at that point, Wes and Nehemiah just hang out.
Has anyone between over like a now season and a half stretch, has anyone had a more dominant run on dailies than Brad has?
It's crazy.
I don't know.
I mean,
he's like...
even thinking back to last season, like all he did was win the dailies.
He's killing it.
And then he took Derek out early, like the one day he didn't do well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because I'm sure there's a season, like especially team seasons where like somebody just ran away with stuff. I believe it was the Ruins. It's just like the rookie team had no chance. Like they were down. It was like 2 players versus like 7 at the end.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking through stuff here. I just want to do a comparison here. So, for instance, Johnny Bananas has done what, like 17 seasons? Is that right?
Oh, it's a lot. Yeah.
He has 62 daily wins.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's just pull Brad up here real quick. All right. Brad, on the other hand,
Not even half the seasons.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, so
10.
it is half.
So that's 10. He has 41.
So he's 20.
But I don't know
less.
that counts all. So All Stars 2 and 3 he has 6 daily wins.
So he didn't have, honestly, like 5 of them are from this season.
Yeah.
So he didn't win a lot. Oh, but it was a paired thing last season, so it's different. Like this is just he's just doing it on his own.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like Brad's got to be like the person you're worried about. Like I know Jordan's the wild card when it comes to like the final and stuff. But I mean, as far as just who's just like consistently dominating,
It's Brad.
it's Brad killing it this season.
It's bionic Brad and his bionic beard.
So yeah, Brad wins this daily. And then he does like a backspin kick to knock it all down.
He pulled a turbo.
He did. It was turbo-esque. And so he wins. And at the time, I was like, honestly, this isn't much of a puzzle, it seemed. It more just like balance.
Yeah.
But when the girls went, I kind of saw it is a little bit tougher. It probably, there's like, say you have to have everything add up to 10. So on one, you have like 7 plus 3, and the other one, you have 5 plus 4 plus 1. And so that's where it kind of becomes a puzzle aspect, and that's what the girls were struggling with.
Yeah, well, shout out to Kellyanne for, having hers fall apart.
Yeah.
By the wind.
And it looks like Ronnie probably should have won. But
She dropped a piece and didn't realize
She dropped
it.
a piece. And how many times is life like that? You're so close to putting it all together, but there's the one piece.
There's a missing piece, and you don't know it.
And
you
so
don't see it.
I want to shout out my fiance real fast while we're talking about the missing piece.
Okay.
She was it. My life for 31 years had been... People have been through worse.
Yeah.
But, there's tragedy in there. She was the missing piece.
Okay.
And I can't thank her enough, Han.
She was also the missing piece. Peace.
That's, yeah. She was my missing piece, but she was also my missing piece.
Yes.
And I've never encountered such peace.
With this piece.
Outside of our Lord and Savior, Glory. And so...
Glory. Sounds like a horse.
But, sweetheart, I love you. I'll be home to HelloFresh soon.
I'm glad you did that. We haven't even talked about the girls' round yet.
Right.
Hey, Nia likes to win, and she likes money. Don't we all?
She doesn't like giving you fantasy points, I'll tell you
No,
that.
she doesn't. Don't get me
This
started on
episode
that.
a little
wins.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she wins.
Well, okay, so I thought it was just great karma that Sylvia and Veronica were the ones to screw up the first leg of this daily.
Well,
I don't know what kind of noise that was.
It's a horse noise.
Glory.
Yeah. Veronica found her number. She's put it in backwards, and so her and Sylvia the fact that Sylvia had the sabotage and then gave John A 2 combinations and still lost to that. So I guess John A did make it to the second round.
Maybe she did.
Yeah,
I don't even
the
remember.
second part. She just didn't make it to the puzzle part.
No, she did.
Was she doing
Johnny
the puzzle?
made it to the puzzle.
Well, then why didn't you? Because I said
She did. You're right.
I didn't catch what you were saying.
We said the two people that got sabotaged didn't make it off the beach,
No,
like
she
TJ
did.
said.
It was John
yeah,
A,
now-
Ronnie, and Kellyanne because
It was Sylvia and Veronica.
Sylvia
Yeah.
and
No, I said
Veronica
that.
Okay.
crapped the bed, and then Nia's takes a great lead, gets to the
Kayla.
paddle boards. Nia can't paddle, and then Kayla paddles the wrong way.
Yeah, Nia has a much higher center of gravity than the other ones, but Kellyanne does this type of stuff all the time.
She owns 3 paddle boards at home.
Yeah, and so Nia is really bad at paddleboarding, and so her and Kayla get cut second.
I don't know why she didn't just do it on her knees instead of trying to stand up.
That's what she...
Yeah. What now?
That is what she said.
So they get to the final area, and Kellyanne's is way out in front of everybody. She's building up her thing, and she's going to put the last piece on, that star piece. And that's when you saw some of the guys talk about, oh, that wind is rough. And it just crumbles. And you hear Kellyanne say, well, that's just not fair to me. And it's the producers didn't cause it to happen.
No, and the other girls felt
they're
wind
doing-
too.
yeah,
It's the
that's-
same wind.
So I was like, if they let Kellyanne come back after having to rebuild it basically twice, I was like, that's a huge win for her because she just freaked out in that star puzzle early on.
Well, she even said in a confessional, she's like, "This will be a win even if I don't get it. If I stay calm." Which,
it's easier to say that, though, after the fact you already won.
Yeah, I know. But she did manage to stay calm.
Yeah.
Like, she took a breath and regrouped and came back.
And all the guys said they were blocking the win for her.
Just for her.
Wes said, I think he said it's kind of come full circle with, having an ex from like 12 years ago or whatever it was. And he just wishes her the best. And
he even helped her as soon as she got to the puzzle.
She was like, it was nice to hear him. I mean, why would he have any animosity towards her?
Y'all got any exes y'all want to wish the best to?
Wish the best to?
Mm.
I probably had some I would want to wish the best to before I would want to wish the best to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Beth kills your vibes.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't have any like bad pasts, really.
I'm over all mine. Got over them a long time ago.
Honestly, I couldn't.
Really don't care.
That was a just quick little aside here. That was one of the things when me and my now fiance started seeing each other. She had at least 3 coworkers come to her that were also divorced, telling her that I was always going to love my ex-wife, and you need to be very careful.
Does that mean they're still in love with their
Yeah,
ex-spouse?
no, they were totally like admitting to
That's
like I still have
projection.
feelings for him, you know. So you need to be prepared, and it's like I almost took her phone and got their phone numbers to tell them to shut up and go home.
That wouldn't have been good though.
No, that would have been weird.
No, I wasn't gonna do it, but it's
Tell them
bad
to go
logic.
home.
It's bad logic. Right, it's bad logic.
It's solely dependent on the situation because they're like, if someone just like up and left you and you weren't expecting it, like you still could have feelings for them, but not the same. And also, it's not your place to project that onto anyone else.
Yeah,
That's
so
stupid.
disrespectful.
So when Kellyanne wins, to be honest, she celebrates, but nothing over the top to me.
It definitely wasn't a Derek.
Seemed very.
But even before she explained her celebration, it was clear that like she not only won the daily, she won it with a puzzle.
Yeah, which
Twice.
After literally being like put back into last place in the puzzle part.
Yeah.
And
Odds stacked against her.
She had that puzzle finished, had to completely start all over and came back to win it. And stayed calm the whole time. Like it was a major win for her.
We've seen people that get obnoxious, and again, going back to the way Derek acted,
that
it's obnoxious. Yeah. But like, I don't feel like Kellyanne crossed the line. But it's just Sylvia was not.
You're upset it didn't work. That's what it is.
Yeah,
that's what it is. That's what happened.
But also, you didn't sabotage her.
Yeah,
I liked that Nia heard that, and she was like, "I heard her say that." Also, why?
Sylvia said, "If I ever act like that after I win, shoot me in the face." And or just shoot me or something like that. And well, ironically, she's not going to have a chance to win anymore. Cause,
that's true.
So anyway, Brad and Kellyanne are doing the last 2 sabotages the next daily. But I almost just said Kelly, which seemed weird, and that reminded me. Jake, Hannah, and I started watching Saved by the Bell. She's never seen it before. Any Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, because you guys had a boys' night, and then the following day, Zach and I went to go get lunch, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we talked about Saved by the Bell," and I said, "Oh, I've never seen that," and he's like, "We talked about that."
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, completely out of order. It's on Peacock now. It's not on wherever Netflix like I watched it before. It's on Peacock, and it is not in the right order at all. Nope. And I went and I looked up, and someone has written an article during COVID, and they're like, if you want to watch it in the correct order, these are the episodes you need to do. And it's all over the place, man. Mm-hmm. It's like, because I skipped season 1 because that's just Good Morning Miss Bliss, and half that cast is gone by season 2. And I was like, they focus on the teacher, who cares? So I start on season 2, and in the first episode, Slater's just there hanging out with them. And I was like, well, this isn't right. And so that's when I looked it up, and someone's like, no, you got to start with season 2, episode 15, and then that's when they introduced Slater. They're like, so the 14 previous ones that are on there, he's just there, like, part of the group, and then all of a sudden they're introducing him. And is
that how it was broadcasted? Aired?
No, there's no way it was like that, because he's such an integral part of the cast, because they have to have a rival for Zach or whatever. So they just, for some reason, it's out of order, and I want to get to the bottom of why it's out of order. So, like, to watch it in the sequential order, you have to do episode 15, then episode 5, and then episode 2 and 3, then like episode 8, like, and then sometimes you have to go season 3, episode 4, and then back to season 2. It's wild. It's all over the place.
It's crazy.
If you tried to watch it for the first time straight through, you'd be like, what is happening in this show? And because you're like, yeah, we've already seen this guy for 15 episodes. Why are they acting like he's a new transfer? And it's just crazy. The first episode, season 2, is a little rough. They definitely hadn't really found their footing yet.
Which one was that?
Where they're basically just introducing Zach as the main character. Because in season 1, he's just kind of like a side character.
Right.
Season 2, he's the main guy, but the jokes are pretty forced. They haven't fleshed out the characters yet. She liked when Screech pretended to be Michael Jackson one time.
Oh yeah,
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so we're only like 4 episodes into it, but there's a lot coming that she doesn't know about.
There's some good pop culture lines that were like very current.
Like what?
During the time, we've had this discussion.
I can't remember.
My brain doesn't work like that.
Yeah, a lot of
I remember hearing it and being like, "Oh, that probably landed great because it was like very current to the time."
Oh, they talk
that it was
about
recorded.
how Kelly Kapowski has a crush on Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, that was another one.
Yeah.
And so I looked up. I was like, "What did Dennis Quaid look like in the '80s?"
What did he look like?
I mean, younger,
Okay,
but not like anybody. I'd be like, "Oh, he's a heartthrob."
Listen, he was really handsome in The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan.
I think he's a good-looking guy.
Ironically,
he's a really good-looking guy.
Miss Bliss, who from Good Morning Miss Bliss, the teacher from the whole first season, was the original girl from The Parent Trap back in the 50s or 60s.
How about that?
Yeah, she was the Lindsay Lohan role.
Anyway, so there's current for then pop culture lines that are just kind of thrown into the script.
Michael Jackson,
and it's like things that
I mean, he was ripped, but
he's got such a good face.
That's definitely Dennis.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, maybe somebody else can weigh in on this.
Dennis Quaid in The Parent Trap.
Oh, there's him and Meg Ryan together. That's got to be the late 80s.
He seems like a real wholesome guy, doesn't he?
You know, his brother's absolutely insane.
Oh, what do I remember, Randy? Oh
my
yeah,
gosh!
From that,
yeah.
But this is what he looks like now. He's a huge conspiracy theorist, far right.
He looks like it.
Yeah. He's just like complete gone.
Isn't it crazy when people go?
You can see
They
it.
go.
Physically, you can see it.
You can see it.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, great character
Wow.
on the Vacation movie. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I just wanted to bring it full circle back to.
I didn't realize that was
Saved by the
Randy
Bell.
Quaid.
Oh yeah.
Had no idea.
His brother.
Had no idea. Never connected those dots.
So.
So I've never seen Saved by the Bell, but we started watching it, and I'm getting into it, and I enjoy it.
I just found out for the first time. I thought Peacock was paid the whole time, but it's only paid for the like original stuff. Everything else on there you can just watch, and it's just got ads. And I didn't know that.
So that means I can watch The Office again?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You don't have to have a membership.
No, they did not market it well at all.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna. Okay. Okay.
Now, like they did a reboot of Saved by the Bell like last year or whatever, and they did
Don't
that
care.
Fresh Prince reboot, which is a drama or whatever.
Nobody wants to watch that.
Well, all that is behind a paywall, and like all the like NBC Plus or Peacock original stuff is, but all the like old NBC shows, which Saved by the Bell, and like it's all free. You just gotta watch ads.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
canceling that tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, did you have a subscription to it?
No clue. I had no idea.
Yeah, I did. I've never even. I was like,
That's
come on.
only like $6 or $7 a month, I think.
Yeah.
But still, that's $6 or
It adds
$7
up.
a month.
It's
Yeah,
$5
it does.
with ads or like $7 without ads, and I was just like, you know what? It's just another streaming service that doesn't have enough on it. I'm not going to pay for it. And turns out you don't really have to. Now maybe I hope I'm not wrong, but we were able to skip around and Saved by the Bell and stuff, and you just watch ads.
How about that?
So
It's just like watching it on TV when it aired.
except I hope
You had
that
commercials?
It aired in the correct order. So, we get back to the house after the daily, and I'm pretty sure Naya is naked in the bed.
Yeah, I think so.
talking to Kellyanne.
If
and
that's how she's
John A.
comfortable taking a nap, let her live.
I didn't say
It's her life.
I didn't say anything about it. If there was cameras around like that, I would freak out and be like, oh no, like something might be showing.
I don't like sleeping in the nude.
Oh, I can't do that.
I can't do it.
Yeah,
I can't.
yeah, I can't do.
It's not comfortable.
You feel exposed.
Well, it's not. It's not a. It's
yeah.
It's
I know
not
what
a-
it is with you.
what?
You have those dreams about the worms that swim up your urethra. Not worms, but fish. the fish in the water.
Yeah.
You gotta have a barrier there.
Right. Right. It's almost like the portals into the Upside Down on Stranger Things, which you guys don't watch, but
No.
I saw a scene from something from this season, and it is
they definitely went a different route this season.
Not like
For sure.
headphones floating up, and then where she goes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, that is not because I was
Yeah.
like, I'm pretty sure this is Stranger Things, and then I was like, what is happening here?
Yeah, totally different route this season.
Yeah.
I love it though.
So, anyway,
Nia tells Kellyanne about what Sylvia said.
yes, and Kellyanne said something about you don't try to take away my happy, and
Which I guess not.
because she's like, why would you do that? And then Sylvia calls her stepson on the FaceTime thing, and
I mean,
I
this
will
is-
say she has already stepmom energy,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and
Talking about bringing them grades up,
yeah.
and
To be fair, from what we saw, he didn't even say I had bad grades, but she was just like on him.
no, you don't want to out him on national
Well, she
television.
did. She's like, you gotta get them up.
Well, she was holding his report card or like a copy of
You
it.
think
or
they sent
something.
his report card
She
to
was
Panama?
she was holding paper in her hand, and like there was a lower third that like pointed to her hand that said report card.
Oh, did it?
Yes.
I missed. I must have been taking notes. So that means either she brought a report card to have this moment, or they sent one to Panama
And
to
she
set up this moment.
Or she got like an email and printed it off to look at it and show and be like, "Hey, I got a copy of your report
Do
card."
they email report cards now?
They have them.
2022.
I know. I haven't got one in a long time.
My sister she just finished up her junior year. They do all report cards on like an app online.
Honestly, it makes sense because way less things you could forge. Because you could just be like, oh, my mom saw it. She signed it. And
Yeah.
But now it's like it can go straight to them.
Yeah.
But I've been in his shoes before. Your parents find the report card.
You've never had a stepmom.
No, but I've been in the child's position where you have a report card come out and there is a subject that you don't excel at. You do less than.
Jumping.
That would be an F for failure.
Anyway, you don't want to come out and say, "Hey, I failed this class," but your parents, they find it and they're like, "What is this?" And you're like, and that was about how that
I
conversation
gotta be honest.
went.
I never failed class on a report card.
I didn't either.
Did you?
I came close, but
Calculus.
I probably don't think.
And I went to tutoring and stuff like after school almost every day,
I don't
and I
think
still
I don't
couldn't
honestly
do
think
it.
I got below a B.
The one subject I could never get, and I still don't get to this day, is geometry.
Oh,
I can't do shapes and sizes.
Geom-
Now, what's crazy is you would think like science was always like a weak point for me.
Mm-hmm.
I just anything, chemical equations, like I didn't understand it, couldn't get it.
Did you take chemistry?
No, but I took a class called Principles of Technology. We called it POT, and
yeah.
it was
pot.
generally just like build. You had to like build
Like
stuff.
engineering, kind
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
I got an A in that class. Here's a funny little aside, right? We had to make an egg crate.
Yeah, we did that.
Okay,
In my
so
physics class,
your
though,
grade
which
was
was not easy.
your grade was based on how high your egg could be dropped and last. So like some people, it would just be dropped from like holding your hand straight out and it'd break. They didn't get a good grade, right?
Your whole grade was based
no,
on that.
I just meant
okay,
the grade on
I
that
thought they were like,
project.
you gotta wait till the end of the semester.
So
Yeah.
I had totally forgot about this project, and I woke up the morning of, and I was like, I have to do something. So my little brother used to always like to eat the Oreo minis in like the Ziploc pouch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I emptied it out. I finished it out for him, and I just stuffed
Ate
it
all
with
the Oreos.
I stuffed it with like 2 whole rolls of toilet paper.
Oh, so
like,
you
unraveled it.
Okay, see, we had limits on like what we could use.
No,
and stuff. Oh, okay.
You got to build something.
They wanted you to get creative,
but people thought too hard on this because I literally stuffed it with toilet paper. Mine lasted the longest.
See,
I mean, we dropped it from like this tower, and it did not.
Did you
break.
do it at your school? It
Yes.
wasn't okay. So when we did it in physics class, which was like an elective class when I was a senior, we went to a college and did it against a bunch of other people, and I don't remember how ours did. It didn't win, but we were very limited on what we could use because otherwise you could just And they took it in like an auditorium, like above like a gym, and dropped them from really high. And but going back to geometry, when I took geometry, I got 111 in geometry.
That doesn't make
because she gave extra credit stuff, and I for whatever reason it just all clicked. I got a medal at the end of the year for geometry, and
his mom gave me that medal a few years ago. It's somewhere in
when we
this
got
house.
married, she's like, "Here you go."
She's like, "Look, here's his medal."
Well, congratulations, you nerd.
No,
Yeah.
you guys all know I'm really bad at math. I excelled in trigonometry. I was an underclassman taking trig with juniors and seniors, and did really well. I did great in chemistry, but once it came to like physics, and you had to add
I
more severe math to it,
Yeah.
like calculus and stuff. My guidance counselor told me, she's like, you probably shouldn't take physics. And I was like, oh, thanks.
I liked physics. At the end of our physics year, everyone went to Six Flags Atlanta with our physics class, and there was a full day of all other physics students there, and it was supposed to be a day of, you have to calculate the velocity of the roller coasters and all this stuff. And then we got there, and our teacher's like, just have fun, do whatever you want. And so every other kid was having to do homework at the park, and we just got to do whatever we wanted. And that was real great. This is an aside of geometry class. My yearbook from my senior year, if you get a copy of it, my favorite memory is marked out with Sharpies in every single yearbook that went to every kid in school, because it was kindergarten on up. Got the same yearbook because it was a smaller school at the time. We only had like 25 people in my graduating class. And my geometry teacher was a super sweet lady. It was a private Christian school, and like when we would have like rectangles, she would make the points like LOVE, and a triangle would be like,
of course
it would be like JOY. She's like that type, but it wasn't like insincere. Like that's just how she was. And one of my friends, who was a little bit of a troublemaker, was in there, and this girl that didn't do anything, but he raised his hand. And he was like, I don't want to say the teacher's name. I'm going to say her name's Parker, but it's not that. He's like, Miss Parker. He's like, Callie called me a whore, which did not happen. Did not happen at all. And we were like working on like geometry problems. Like the class was dead silent. And we thought it was kind of funny. And our teacher got so offended by it. And she was like, oh no. She's like, I've got to send you to the principal's office. And he was like, what? And he's like, I was just joking. And she was like, oh, that just hurts me. And she asked us, because we were all like 17, 18, because we're seniors.
So you're all laughing.
Yeah. And she was like, would your parents allow you guys to say that word? And everyone in there was like, yes. And she's like, well, it doesn't sit right with me. And he got detention. And so in our yearbook, we were in 11th grade, so we were a year younger, because he got kicked out of school the next year. But
great.
In our yearbook, it was, by the way, if you're Brandon, if you're listening, I got your back, because he got kicked out for a BS reason, because all of the football team got caught drinking in the summertime, and so they came into the school year with it's a point system, and so they were already up against it, and his phone rang in the middle of class. He just didn't realize it was on, and he got detention in the class. If anyone would have known it was his phone, we would have said, "Oh, it was me." Like, because no one. He'd been in that school since kindergarten, and they kicked him out right before our senior year, and because he just went over the point number, and it was like early in the year. Anyway, so my yearbook, my favorite memory from high school was when Brandon told Miss Parker that Callie called him a whore, and whoever was in charge, whatever teacher was in charge of proofing the yearbooks, did not proof anything. And so one of our classmates just like, that sounds great. Put it in there. And so
it was printed in every yearbook that went out to every student at the school.
From kindergarten through senior. And the thing was, with our yearbooks, you didn't get them till the following year because they wanted to include the spring sports in them as well for the school year. So I had to come back after graduation and pick mine up. And all of the teachers were like, we had to go through every one of these books and mark out the quote. And some of them marked out we had to do favorite Bible verse as well. And I don't even remember what I put, but it was something wild. And
of course it was.
I don't even remember I really don't remember what it said.
Probably because you're a pastor's kid, you get buck wild with it.
It was just, and the thing is, I never got in trouble at school. And so the fact that like half the school had 2 of my things marked out, and at least everyone got my favorite memory marked out. I had people coming up to me like in restaurants and stuff like, what did that say? And then I would explain the situation, and like, oh well, whatever teacher was in charge of the yearbook class should have caught that. And I was like, exactly.
That's on the teacher.
That's not my fault.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it kind of derailed me with geometry.
I did. That's on me.
It's all your fault.
It's all my fault.
So anyway, no rest for Brandon. We get a birthday party.
Like half the house has their birthday about the same time.
Johnny and Kayla for sure, but then Veronica started blowing out candles. But she didn't have a crown like they did she?
She did not.
No.
Well, she just blew out their candles.
Brad blew out candles, and so did Wes and Nehemiah.
Did they?
Yes.
I just saw
There were like 6 or 7 people standing there on the other side of the cake. Even Ronnie was over there.
Nehemiah said, this is the closest we've ever shot a challenge to my actual birthday. But I know I saw on Instagram or Twitter or something, somebody was like, it's John A. and Kayla's birthday. And they were the only 2 that crowd. So maybe it was like, hey, anyone who's got one within like the next month, like, well, I'll just get in on this together. This is a very nerdy thing. I don't know if any of you saw when all the confetti popped, the frame rate and all that with the camera really screwed up. There's a really good video. If you ever want to know anything about video compression or why things look the way that they do, want to know why streaming sometimes looks blocky and pixelated, this is kind of the area that I work in. There's a video by a guy named Tom Scott that explains all of this in about 4 minutes, and it's the best example of what happens and why confetti or snow or anything freaks out streaming video, and it's just really well done. And so it happened in this episode. Mm-hmm. And so it's not just live streaming. It's just...
You got so excited when it did.
Yeah, because there's so much... What happens with... The way that streaming video works is if the video doesn't feel like it needs to refresh a pixel, it doesn't do it. So like if you have a static shot where there's a wall behind you and you're not moving your hands in front of it, that stays... It's the same pixel, so that way it has a lower compression. And so that way you're not having as much information send out because... Anyway. So when you have a lot of movement... You have to send more and more information, and that bogs everything down. So when like confetti is like glittering and spinning all over, and there's thousands of it on the screen, everything freaks out. It doesn't know what to do.
It's lower quality that you're seeing.
Yeah,
at that point.
It's all streaming video. When you used to broadcast over the airwaves back in the day, that wasn't really a thing. It's just the way that video is compressed and then sent out and then re-presented in packages. And anyway, that's the first time I've seen it in this setting. I've only seen it in live stream settings before, so I did appreciate that.
Congratulations!
Yeah.
Tom Scott.
We did
confetti.
Kellyanne and Sylvia decide to talk, or
well, it looks like Sylvia pulled her aside.
Yeah, Sylvia pulls Kellyanne aside.
Yeah.
Sylvia really has it out for Kellyanne. Because she says in multiple confessionals, she's like, she's on an absolute power trip. I never got that.
What'd she say at one point? I don't dislike her. I just have something against her, or something like that.
Yeah, she said she just can't stand the way that Kellyanne talks and sounds.
So it's also like, I mean, okay. Who cares? Sylvia's not a powerhouse in this game. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, I don't know what her elimination record is. I forgot that she beat Kayla in Invasions, if I'm being honest. I know she had that one really drawn out one with Melissa. That's about the most memorable thing I can remember from Sylvia's challenge career. Not saying that Kellyanne has like a spectacular challenge career or anything like that, but to me, Sylvia's kind of got an air about her of like, oh, I am really good at this. And even though she was like trying to like make a deal with Kellyanne, it seemed like she was also kind of belittling Kellyanne while she was doing it.
She was. It was almost like she was trying to back Kellyanne into a corner, even though Kellyanne was the one with the power.
It's so she went on to talk about like her elimination record.
Yeah.
She was 5-1 before this,
so better than I thought.
That's not bad. That's pretty good.
That's solid.
Yeah.
I wonder how. Again, I don't know the opponents. I know Kayla was one. I know Melissa was one. But it's just like, I don't know. Sylvia's not really been here since Final Reckoning.
She beat Latoya. She beat Kayla. Lost to Jenna. That was her one loss. She beat Melissa.
Yep, that's the one I remember.
Her and Josh beat Derek and Tori.
Oh, that was when Derek's one of the worst people.
And her and Josh also beat Bananas and Tony.
I don't remember that one. I don't remember what that was.
Don't trip me up.
I don't know that one.
I don't remember that. But anyway, it's just like she did somehow get Kellyanne to talk about, I would like to be aligned with you guys. And I was like, if you're Kellyanne, like, why?
Oh, yeah. And Kellyanne, to save face and not let Sylvia, run away with it, she just kind of went with it. She's like, oh, yeah, I would like to work with you.
Well,
because Kellyanne knows that Sylvia is tied to Kayla, who is the real threat in the house. And as long as Kellyanne can be on the same page as Kayla and Sylvia, she would be protected. So to kind of go along with it, I think she wanted to see if she could draw information from Sylvia and see, if there's anybody else that Sylvia would throw under the bus to save her own self.
Well, I did like that Kellyanne just said to her face and all that. She's like, I'm just sick of being nice to you guys. And I was like, yeah, she should. Like she hasn't really done anything to them from what I remember in this season. Like, they had it out for her and Kendall, but I don't remember her causing any issues.
No, they had it out for Kendall, and once Kendall was gone, then they set their sights on Beth and Kellyanne. But Kellyanne didn't do anything.
But they said early on Kellyanne and Kendall were, like, who they were targeting. And maybe Kendall more so, but, like, Kellyanne was definitely in there. And so she talks to Sylvia about, hey, I would like to work with you. And then they're talking, and Sylvia is trying to throw out names, and Kellyanne's like, "Well, Naya's only been nice to me. I'm not going to throw her in. I'm not going to throw who else? I don't even remember who else she said. But
John A.
Maybe." And that's when Sylvia's like, "Oh, well, Naya doesn't have the endurance for." And I was like, again, like, has Sylvia proved like the final she was in, from what I remember, with Final Reckoning, is a joke of a final.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, for sure.
They got to like sleep overnight and have wine and pizza, and like there's not
maybe the worst final in challenge history.
Probably. And there was not I would say it was worse than maybe even the Gauntlet 2, which we just watched.
Yes.
Just cuz like it was a joke. Like we're in this like modern era of like really heavy things, and it's just like, hang out, guys. And so anyway, I was like, that's interesting that she says Naya doesn't have the endurance, and I was like, I don't know if she's proven she has it, but so we get to the Authority. Brad and Kellyanne are talking, and they just start talking about, I think Kellyanne said she's got people who are off the board, or she's got who in mind she wants for the girls.
She said that she's willing to throw out names for who they want to protect or who they want to potentially put into elimination on the men's side, but she said it's non-negotiable on the women's side. She knows who she wants. And Brad was like, well, that's not really fair if you get the sole vote on the women, and then, we have to figure out how to compromise on the men's. And so they decide to meet in the middle and let Brad have the men's vote, and Kellyanne gets the women's vote.
Yeah, and Brad said, well, we can't have it be like a double standard. Like, if you want to pick the girls, I'm fine. If you won't let me solely pick the guy. And I was like, yeah, it's like, that's fair if that's what you guys want to do. So that's when Brad said, I want MJ, because he's like, why would you want to start another fire when you haven't put the first one out? Like, you don't want all these things happening. And I was like, that's why it's just been thrown on MJ the whole time. I honestly don't think, I told Hannah this at the end of the episode, I don't think he was like specifically like, oh, I've got to get MJ out of this game. I think it's more so like, it's already, the opportunity's been there. Ride that out so I don't have to make another person angry until it's just done. And Brad's been destroying the dailies, so why not just keep going that way? And so Brad goes in and tells MJ, and MJ's like, thanks, I appreciate it. Which I was like, yeah, I was like, it is better to know and kind of get your plan in place than to come in blindsided.
MJ was glad to be chosen for elimination so that he can go in and choose.
And then he called Brad dumb in the confessional.
He can go in and choose his own opponent.
Yeah.
So he's got however long it is from this point until elimination, he's got to mentally prepare. Whereas once they get to elimination, he can call out anybody who's not mentally prepared, who thinks that they might be safe. And it gives you a little bit better of an edge.
The other thing is, all these guys keep talking about, oh, well, MJ's just all about self-preservation. And I was like, that's the ultimate goal.
Isn't that the name of the game?
Yeah.
It's the game.
Like, I get you have alliances and all that, but at the end of the day,
not everybody's getting that money.
It's all about who makes it to the final and wins. And so I was like, yeah, it is about self-preservation. It's not about, oh, I bet I can take out the biggest and baddest person here. Like, you're just trying to survive. Like, I don't blame MJ at all for playing that way.
Yeah.
So then they go in and tell Sylvia she's the pick. Kayla starts crying like me. Also, Kayla, I think, knew it was coming because she had a big hoodie cinched up over her to where she only had like a 4-inch hole to where you could see out of. And we get a couple more just like Sylvia confessionals, just being like upset. And
she was really mad about it and almost like she was shocked. I don't know why. She's been targeting openly Kellyanne for however many days it's been since Kendall and Beth went home.
And didn't early on in this episode, they were like making jokes about Kellyanne's next one to go in.
She's the one to get sabotaged.
And then,
that's her job. That's her job on the show.
And then Sylvia's like, oh, she doesn't like it. And that's like, well, yeah. And like, again, I don't know why it would be a surprise that Kellyanne picks you.
Yeah. Or why you'd be upset about it, because they have picked on her and given her sabotages and thrown her into, or threatened to throw her into elimination. Like, they
sent her best friend home.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're upset. Like, you can't keep picking on somebody and then expect them to roll over and let you kick them while they're down. They're gonna bite back. It happens. Don't be shocked.
Okay, I wasn't.
You were, specifically.
So we get to the elimination. I think both players had someone else in mind and then pivoted once they saw it was a puzzle, like in quotes. And I obviously didn't work out for either of them.
Sylvia, I think, originally was planning on John A because I think she thought that was her best shot in an elimination because they're both smaller in stature, so they're probably close to the same size. But I mean, I guess once they saw what it was, she decided to pick Nia over John A, which John A, I think, was really surprised at. Nia seemed really blindsided.
She was pissed, is what she said.
And Sylvia said she picked Nia because Nia hasn't been impressive this season,
which is true.
True. I will say Nia hasn't done anything this season really. But I don't know if I would go just picking anyway. I guess their alliance is so big. There's not that many people to choose from, so it seems to be is either going to be John A or Nia, and John A does do better at puzzles, and so I mean I guess Nia was the pick, but it's called Starstruck. Basically, you have like a 3-tiered pole, and it's like. You have a star, you have 3 stars, and they only come out at certain points in the maze, and you just got to get to the right points and get it all out. And then you have to kind of play like pool and hit a ball through like a mouse hole. I don't know.
Like a Tom and Jerry hole.
Yeah, it's a strange elimination.
It's weird.
Yeah. It is a bit of an equalizer, though.
Yeah, it's just basically whoever can get the pole out first wins. And that's what happened to both of them. And I was like, of course Jordyn is 50 feet away up on a balcony and can tell Nia which direction to go and get the thing out. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what happened. And he got it out and she got it out. And then she goes, and honestly, I almost missed it because I looked down because I was about to type a note. She one-shots it.
Who knew that Nia was a pool ace? That's why you picked her second.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For the pool skills.
Did you ever watch, I want to say there was an episode, there was 2 episodes. There was an episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where they got in a pool shark thing and Uncle Phil came in and beat everybody, right?
Yep.
There was an episode of Family Matters that did it as well, from what I remember, where Carl comes in.
Yep.
Very similar premise.
Yeah.
There was also an episode of Drake and Josh.
I remember that one.
But Fresh Prince and like Family Matters were relatively the same time, maybe a couple years apart. And I just remember I was like, is that something that's happening a lot where you get hustled by pool sharks and you got to get your dad or uncle to come in and save you?
Pool is a good premise to build a sitcom episode around.
Well,
it is.
It really is.
Have there ever been any? I don't think. Is there a Boy Meets World? There's not a Boy Meets World pool episode. I mean, there's a pool table at Chubby's or whatever. Is there one to Saved by the Bell? It's been a while.
No.
Well, don't tell me. I haven't watched it yet.
I know. Honestly, we talked about it. I keep, since then, I've had like 4 Facebook memories that come up about Saved by the Bell, and they're all from 10 years ago. That's how long ago it was when I watched it. Because I was very upset about the order that things were.
Right.
And then also that they got a telegram in one episode.
Oh, yeah.
Which seems insane that they could get a telegram. Nia basically just destroys Sylvia. She doesn't even get her stick out of the thing. And, I mean, it's over before you even knew what was happening. And so MJ and Derek go, and Derek gets out way quicker. MJ went the wrong direction, I guess. And that's what it was. Like
he never got his out.
He never could get it back out. But Jordyn up top was talking to Wes or somebody. He's like, "Oh, he went up here and he should have went down." And I was like, "Of course." Like he's just a machine. And Derek though, I thought was going to blow it.
He missed that shot like 20 times.
Because Hannah asked, she was like, "Can they just like make a path to the hole?"
Well, that's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, clear off these like divots you've made.
Well, I bet they told them that you're not allowed to touch the sand past that rope. Because Derek was so frantic, he was like running and like stopping real quick, and so he's digging his feet in and making these like divots and holes.
And it was exactly in front of the path.
And I was like, they had to have told him. I was like, there's no way he's not smart enough to see that that's going to cause problems. I was like, they had to have said you can't touch this sand, because otherwise you would just I made a trench and you just knock it right in. And because he was running and just like putting footholes everywhere, and I was like, oh, he might really screw himself up on this one. But after, I don't know, 6 shots, 7 shots, I don't even know how many it was.
It was a lot.
He just kind of hit over one and it goes in. And so MJ loses.
Derek gets really obnoxious with his
Yeah,
celebrating. He celebrates really obnoxious, and then it because obviously TJ's got to be like, "Hey, you did well. You're going home."
But before that,
and then as soon as TJ does that, Derek goes back to the obnoxious celebrating. Like he has like 2 big like in your face.
Well, he like goes and like yells in like MJ's face, and it's like, yeah, like you won, but it wasn't like the most impressive win. Like Nia out of anybody had the right to do it, and she didn't. But it's just like, if you're this like elimination king, like let's bring it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then to do the whole thing before he goes back up to rejoin the cast, reaches on MJ's shirt, and then
he does before, but he prefaces it with like he was going to say something sincere, like MJ, it was close and whatever, like it was good to, but he just does that.
It was a very try hard joke.
It was
like he was
so
the whole thing was.
cringy.
Yeah. It didn't seem.
Give me them stars.
We've seen like legit trash talking, and that seemed what we've said about Derek his whole time on All Stars. It seems very like I got to make a moment here.
We have some friends who have 2 boys that are about the 6th and 7th grade. The dad, and so it reminded me very much of how they would act.
Yeah.
if they were in
The
that
youngest
situation.
one wouldn't do that. I don't.
No,
think.
but the one that's a little bit older.
Yeah,
would.
the middle one would.
And I was like, these kids are like 13.
Yeah.
And, so
well, even MJ, he like Derek's in the middle of it. MJ's like, it's a effing puzzle, dude. And Derek's like, yeah, but I beat you.
Yeah. But I mean, like, it is the right play. Like, everyone else left on the board. Like, you don't want to go against Wes on a puzzle, really.
You don't want to go against Jordyn.
You don't want to go against Jordyn. You don't want to go against Nehemiah necessarily. You know Derek's not good at puzzle. You know that Brad took him out last season in a puzzle elimination similar to this. It's just like, yeah, like that's the way to go. If it's an endurance thing, you don't want Derek.
Rob.
Derek's going to outlast most people up there. But it's like, it was the right play. And it wasn't like he's like, oh, Derek sucks so much, I'm going to beat him. Mm-hmm. It was just like, it's a calculated risk.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was like, man, like let's dial it back a little bit.
And then up top, Nehemiah says to Wes, $5 he gets injured celebrating, which would have been very funny karma.
Happens in the NFL sometimes. Mm-hmm. I know like Jay Feely, like the kicker for the Arizona Cardinals, like hit a game-winning like
towards ACL
and landed towards Stephen Tulloch, who used to be a linebacker for the Titans. He was on the Lions at the time, so we have a lot of Michigan fans here. He went to celebrate a sack and he jumped and did that, where they stretch your arm, and he like tore his ACL or something. And it's like, yeah, it's hubris. Like let's calm it down a little bit.
Well, I mean, Sylvia had a little outburst too.
Yeah. I don't have any more notes on that episode, but yes.
As soon as Nia got the shot and won the elimination, Kellyanne from the top, she apologizes to Sylvia. She's like, I'm sorry, Sylvia. And it sounded genuine. And Sylvia turns around and tells her to F off
and
out loud in front of everybody. And then in a confessional, she's just trash talking Kellyanne again. And my note was, why does she hate her so much? Like, this is a game for life-changing money. Why is it so personal?
And I want to say, Brad said something, or no, MJ looked back at Brad and said, hey, something along the lines of, hey, it's a game. I know it's not personal. And Sylvia's like, exits. It's only personal, or something to Kellyanne.
MJ told Brad, he said, Brad, it's not personal. And Sylvia yells out, Kellyanne, it is personal.
Yeah. And it's like, come on, like, you're the reason you're in this position.
How is it personal? Why is it personal? What did she do to make it personal?
Oh, she's just mad at herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she thought she was on this like higher level, and she was kind of with the in group and was kind of untouchable. And then, she won the previous daily, but she used the sabotage
on the wrong person. Even
though it was a calculated risk that seemed to make sense, Kellyanne ends up winning. And like, you've targeted her and Kendall the majority of the season. Like, I get why Kellyanne picked her. I'm glad Kellyanne did, because otherwise it would have been like, oh, you're kind of cowering to this big group. And now like they're fractured.
Yeah.
And because that was Kayla's number one. And even though she's close with like Veronica, but Veronica's number one was kind of Tina.
Yeah.
And
you can't really trust Veronica sometimes.
And Ronnie's
they don't even know Ronnie.
Ronnie's kind of the outside looking in. Derek's just in that group because he's in the room. And so like that whole treehouse thing is very splintered at this point.
The dynamic.
Didn't mean to make a pun with wood there, but it worked.
Okay, yeah. The dynamic has changed.
100%. Kayla's got no like real close. I mean, Veronica, but I don't know if you're going to count on Veronica to really help you get through much of this.
Yeah.
Veronica's side is political, and she really hasn't done much this season.
No.
So, any final thoughts?
No.
Okay, in unison. So superlatives. Who smashed some heads?
Nia with that one and done shot.
It was pretty good.
Jordyn had the puzzle figured out from 100 yards away. So.
He did.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll give it to Kellyanne. That she had a chance to go down real big when the wind knocked her puzzle down, and then she came back, stuck with it, and won, and then sent home the person she should have sent home.
Yeah.
And so Kellyanne. So who got their head smashed?
Sylvia. The whole episode.
I think that's pretty unanimous to me.
Derek, because he looked like an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sylvia's thing to me is like, I can't think of the saying I'm trying to think of, but it's like, when you let something like eat away at you, like your disdain for someone, it really is only affecting you. It's not affecting them.
Oh, what was it? We heard last night about the sycamore tree. Its roots grow deep and it eats you alive. Like bitterness.
So, yeah, anyway, I'm going to pick Sylvia just because of like how bizarre she kind of acted throughout.
Yeah. Vindictive and just very hateful.
Look, I get that things happen that we don't see on the show, but the fact that even Kayla came out on Instagram and made a story and was like, I'm not going to comment on some of the things that happened in this episode. She's like, I play this as a game and it's not a personal thing.
Yeah, it's a game for money. You're competing for money.
She's like, when I go back home, she's like, I forget about everything that happened. And I was like, that's how it should be. Like, this is a weird little segment of your life that shouldn't affect your relationships outside of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Jake, I got to say, not looking good for your team.
It's in bad shape.
But before we get to the fantasy stuff, time for the video game pick.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are not going to guess my game this week.
I don't think we've guessed it once yet. Actually, I did know Spyro was coming, but I didn't know it was going to be the demo. I don't have mine picked out, if I'm being honest, off the top of my head.
I have mine.
Okay, well, mine is... Oh, gosh.
Well, while she's pausing, Jake, we're kind of looking to downsize and move some stuff, and I opened up this old moving box thing that I had. There's my Nintendo 64 in there. Yeah. No idea where it was.
He found it.
Yeah.
Okay. So my game, I used to play the absolute crap out of this game. Like, I played it to no end.
It's probably like Battle Worms.
No, it's Cabela's Big Game Hunter 2002.
Of course, it's 2002.
It was you get like an old pickup truck and you drive it. You can pick either fall or winter, and you go to Montana.
We used to play in the Walmart arcade.
Yeah.
Like you drive,
but you had the shotgun, like the light.
Drive through Montana and you hunt elk and moose, and you can go to Alaska.
I did used to have a computer game that was Deer Hunter. And it was very similar, but I wasn't good at it, and I didn't have the patience to like get up in a tree and do all the calls and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I found out you could do cheats, and basically it just attached you to like 20 feet behind the deer. And so as the deer runs away, you're just kind of like hovering behind it. So you could kill them with like revolvers and bow and arrows. Oh no,
this one you had to have the right gun with the right scope for the right animal. If you were hunting coyotes, like you had to get it at the right distance, at the right time.
Did you play this much, or did your dad play it and you watched?
No, I played it to no end because, like the
as we've established, you get a game and you don't get any other ones.
The moose and the coyotes would come and attack you, and they could kill you, and you'd have to start all over. And you would have to, especially in the winter because it's so cold, you would have to
wear blankets.
No, you would have to like eat like little pouches and drink water to keep yourself alive, or you'd like pass out I
don't think that
have to start all over.
The one I played.
It would like I got really into it.
They probably still make it.
They probably do.
No, there's a game on Xbox Games Pass right now that is that style of game. And I was listening to a podcast, and it was this girl, and it was Heather and Campbell, and she was like, I don't like hunting. I don't like anything like that. But she was like, just being in that environment and like walking around in like these rural. She's like, it's amazing.
You like live in a cabin out in the middle of the woods in like Washington. I know there's for sure Alaska and Montana because those were the two I'd go to all the time. And depending on the season, if you went in fall or in winter, you'd be hunting different animals.
I wonder if anyone that's listening has played this game.
I got so freaking good at this game.
How old were you, though? The last time you played it?
The last time I probably 12 or 13, maybe 14.
Okay, I was about to say, if you're like 7, and you're like, I'm really good, it's like, you probably weren't.
No, I was early teens.
Yeah, maybe then. Yeah. Because, like, again, we talked about last week with Nightfire. Like, sometimes you just hit a wall. Like, and I would just be like, I can't get any further. Mm-hmm. We did have a lot of people chime in and said they like Nightfire.
It's a great game.
Yeah. I like that game a lot. So what's yours for this week?
Big fan of this game. Anytime me and my cousin get together, it's a given. This game is the first to be played. Super Smash Brothers Brawl. which is the Wii Super Smash Brothers. Now, we don't play with Wii controllers. We actually hook up GameCube controllers because the Wii controllers suck.
I think the GameCube controllers are bad.
But it's a general but
the button placement and stuff is weird.
I think games like that are a blast, but this one in particular, we'll do like these drafts. Like we'll draft all these different characters, have a tournament. We may do single elimination, double elimination. I will say my mains are Lucas and Ike. I can't be beat when I play with those two. Y'all know Lucas and Ike.
No.
Not a clue.
Okay.
I mean, I would if I saw them. I don't like them Smash Brothers games. I played all of them, but the newest one, don't care at all about.
I've never played any of them.
Our nephew just got a Switch for his birthday this week. Never had any video games before of his own, and so he's 10, right? Or he's how old is he now?
He just turned 10.
Yeah, he just turned 10.
Just turned 10.
So
2
this
days
is his
ago.
first console. He got Smash Brothers, the new one. And he got like Mario Kart 8 and stuff too. And so when he comes in a couple months, like we're gonna play Mario Kart, and I'm sure we'll play Smash Brothers, and then we'll play Mario Party, that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. So he's real excited about all that. But like, man, the Donkey Kong game on Switch is freaking hard, and the one back on the Super Nintendos are hard.
Yeah,
playing them as an adult is really, really, really hard. For me. It's tough because I'm trying to not just pick like modern games, and that's where I'm kind of run into a little bit of an issue. But I'm gonna pick. You know what? Just for like what it did, I'm gonna pick Halo 2.
Yes.
Not 1.
No, 1 was fun, and you had the little bit of a multiplayer stuff. 2 is where you like 1 was basically just you could do LAN parties, where basically you had an Ethernet cable and you could plug one Xbox into another one and then play on separate TV screens. Halo 2, you could still do that, but you could do it online as well. And that's where I first got into online gaming, which is where my sister is very worried about my nephew. She's like, I don't want him doing any interaction with people. And I get it. But like with the with the Switch, it's like so limited what you can do. I was like, when we were playing, I was like, it was the Wild West. Mm-hmm. And she was like, when did you start playing like those like shooter games? And I was like, I don't know, like 12.
Yeah.
And she was like, absolutely not. And I was like, if you would have saw like the like lobbies we were in back in the day, and like because you just had 16 hot mics at all times and people just trying to be edgy. And you grew up real fast in those places.
Yes, you did.
And I think Halo 3 is a better game, but I think for what Halo 2 did, it was kind of on its own. Because we would spend hours playing LAN parties and stuff just at people's houses. Youth trips, we would bring them with us sometimes. And
it's revolutionary.
It
really
was.
was.
Yeah, it was big. I mean, I know Counter-Strike and stuff existed before that, but to bring it to like a mass audience, because that was even before like Call of Duty exploded with Modern Warfare, like Call of Duty 4. That was after Halo 3 came out.
Yeah.
And so I just gotta pick that for what it was. I do think Halo 3 is a better game though. I'm sure a lot of people have played mine. I'm sure most people have played yours. I doubt we get one person who's played Cabela's Sunny 2002.
Cabela's Big Game Hunter. There's different ones.
Did they have a small game hunter?
No, but they have like one that's on fishing, and then they have they have different types, but it's specifically Cabela's Big Game Hunter 2002.
Which again, if you ever had a Walmart in the mid 2000s, that's the game that was there with those like light guns. Maybe that's just a Southern thing. I mean, I don't know, but in Tennessee you had them. And it was kind of like the duck hunt style guns where you just pumped it and aimed at the screen.
Well, this I played on a PlayStation 2.
Did you ever play Duck Hunt on the Nintendo Entertainment System?
Never.
Missing out. You ready to get into fantasy stuff?
Yes, I am ready to get into this. It's brought to you by.
I forgot.
Got that nose running?
Mucinex.
5 points to MJ. He wants $500,000 in his bank account. We understand that. can relate. Kellyanne's job is to be sabotaged. It's -10. It's not a good job to have.
Joke's on them.
But she's got seemingly great ignoring skills. So we're going to give her an additional 5 there. We've got 10 points to Kellyanne for FaceTime with the boyfriend. We get a shot of her dog. 15 points. We love the dogs around here. Let's see. But she's had the stomach flu. -10.
Yeah.
According to her, the atmosphere has been very inflammatory for her immune system. That's -5. And then an additional -10 because she has heavy metal poisoning and mold poisoning.
That's insane.
That sucks.
But 5 points for having a supportive boyfriend. 20 points because she has dreams of opening up a rescue sanctuary.
Again, she's always finding the dogs on the nights out.
She is.
MJ has Brad frazzled, and he doesn't know what to believe. -10 to Brad. Let's see. Kellyanne feels the treehouse swimming on her back. -5. A lot of points for Kellyanne here at the
A lot of
beginning
back
of this.
and forth, though.
We get good math by Veronica per TJ. 10 points. Nehemiah's not even here. 5 points. He's been stealth mode.
Yeah, I appreciated that use of fading him out.
-15 to John A and MJ. They're the ones that are sabotaged. But MJ wants it. -10. I don't agree with that logic. Let's see. According to Derek, his retirement ain't looking great. -10. Quote from Jordyn here, I'm going to eat that lead. 10 points. Had shades of Jameis Winston there.
Oh, but that wasn't anything like that.
It was just the quote.
Yeah, I know.
-15 to MJ and Mark. They're DQ'd first round.
Okay, hold on. Mark. MJ just lost a crap load of points.
Yeah, he did.
And he loses the elimination, so it's not looking good.
Thanks.
Nehemiah and Wes take a stroll on the Panamanian Ocean. 15 to each.
West.
They are DQ'd second round, though. -10 each. But according to Nehemiah, this was a magical moment for him. 10 points. Brad wins 50 points. He gets 15 for being in the authority and 15 for having sabotage power.
The last one.
Yeah. 5 points for the kick at the end, too. Sylvia is embarrassed for herself. -5. -15 to her and Veronica because they DQ at the beginning. We get a Nia faceplant, -10 points. Kellyanne owns 3 paddle boards at home. 5 for each, that's 15 points. Nia faceplants a couple more times, that's -10. Kayla and Nia then DQ, -10 each.
Yeah.
I know she wins the elimination, but not a good start again.
-30 so
Yeah.
far for Nia.
-10 to Kellyanne. Her puzzle crumbles, but she comes back 20 points and wins 50 points. Another 15 for the authority and 15 for sabotage power. And then -10 to Ronnie for her missing puzzle piece.
Yeah, I think she would have won if she would have realized it.
10 points to Sylvia for the FaceTime call. She's in total mom mode. Informing her stepson these grades better change. We're going to give her 15 for that. And then Kellyanne also twerks at some point during the party. 10 points.
Oh, yeah, there was a slow motion and Nia hit her on the butt.
-25 to MJ and Sylvia. They're the ones voted in.
Hold on. MJ, -25.
And then -25 to Nia and Derek because they're the ones picked to go in.
So, just for a recap, up until the elimination, Nia is at a -55.
Jeez.
That's your number 2 pick, Han.
Yeah.
According to Sylvia, Nia hasn't been that impressive. She's not wrong. -10 to Nia.
Thanks.
-65 so far.
But Nia is bringing the anger back, 10 points. Nia wins, that's 75 points. Sylvia loses, negative 50. We're going to give an additional 20 to Nia because she got her first shot in.
I'm all right with that.
We get a weird MJ Derek face-off.
Did you put
during
negative 20?
Oh, I did, but that's not what I meant. I would have caught it when we did it.
We get a weird MJ and Derek face-off during. It was like a little B-roll leading up to the elimination.
But it seemed like MJ was being very like lighthearted about it. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
It seemed like a wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, negative
promo
5 to
move?
both of them because it was weird. Derek wins, 75 points. MJ loses, negative 50. We're going to give Derek a negative 20 overall for his antics.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Even though he's on my team, I'm fine with it.
But to wrap it up here, 15 points to Nia and Derek for the stars they gained. Not a ton of points going out this week.
Very centered on a handful of people.
Yeah.
Very Sylvia and Kellyanne related. And then MJ. And then again, Brad he's just a machine. Like,
He's Bionic Brad.
Yeah.
Well, having said that, another shout out to our sponsor. Got that nose running. Mucinex. We'll take a quick break. And we're back. One last time for the night. Quick shout out to our sponsor. Got that nose running. Mucinex.
This is definitely a first for all of the points we've done before. Only one team ended up in the positive points wise.
Wow.
This
Wow.
week. And
It
it's
would be you.
Yeah, it's
Not
not either
me.
one of you guys. So going through Hannah's team, Jordyn only got you 10 for the week. Nia, even though she won elimination, started off so bad in the daily, she only ended up with 55.
Lord.
Latarian's eliminated. MJ only had one positive score of the day, and it was 5 points. And
Great.
he ended up with negative 115.
That's bad. You wouldn't expect that kind of score out of MJ.
No.
John A had negative 15. Kendall's eliminated. Ronnie had negative 10. And Jimmy's gone. So you ended up with a negative 75 for the week.
It's rough, hand.
Yeah.
It is.
Wes ended up with only 5 points. Mark ended up with negative 15. Brad ended up with 75. Derek, even though he had an elimination because of the way he acted and got cut early on, he ended up with only 30 points for the week.
Ooh.
So two elimination winners got 55 and 30, and they were both spotted 75 for winning. Mm-hmm. Veronica ended up with negative 5. Kellyanne, though, had 130. And so I ended up with 220 for the week. Jake, you had Kayla get you negative 10. Nehemiah got you 20. And Sylvia got you negative 70. But surprisingly, you're only at a negative 60 overall. Because Nehemiah's 20 came in and saved you a little bit. So last week, the standings were Hannah was in third with 560. Jake was in second with 650. And I was in first with 1025. Now, Hannah's in third with 485. Jake is in second with 590. And I am at 1,245.
What's Hannah's score again?
485.
I gotta
So
say,
you're 105 points ahead of her.
to be at week 6 and to have over 100 more points than you, Han, with only 2 players left on my team,
And she has 5.
is a pretty special feat. I gotta say, it really is.
We'll see what happens next week.
She does have a better statistical chance of having someone win the final because she's got
I
more
have
players.
Jordyn.
And she does have Jordyn.
And I have John A.
True.
Given John A's track record on All Stars, she's got really good chances at making the final.
I got to say, I'm feeling really good about Brad so far as my third pick. And Jake, you got Kayla and Nehemiah left.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to say, I don't think either of them are the front runners for their group, but I think Kayla and Nehemiah both are capable of winning. But if I just had to pick, it wouldn't be either of them.
At this point, I just want to be able to say that I beat Han.
I mean, you
Great.
currently are, but again, going into next week, you better hope it's a Kayla and Nehemiah centric episode and they don't go home.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm sitting pretty good. As the final is what determines everything, but we'll see going forward. As I said at the top of the show, at Smashing Heads on Twitter, at Smashing Heads Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, and patreon.com/Smashing Heads Podcast. And we will be back with you next week.
Have a good night, everyone.